Good evening, welcome to another Bobzee hour. Hope you guys are doing well. We are about to begin. Okay, I hope you're all well, and yeah, welcome to the second Bobzee hour. We have got a few subjects to go over. I've literally just sent a tweet out. If anyone wants to share it or retweet it, that would be massively appreciated. I'm just going to put a link in the live chat now. Okay, yeah, we do have a thumbnail for tonight's video, and it does look a little bit like Prince Harry and Prince Charles, and whilst they are the headline act, I guess you could call them, they are certainly not the only thing we're going to be looking at this evening. Let's find our thumbnail. Yeah, Harry, Meghan and Charles. Apparently, I'm not sure if you came across it, they have come up again in the press. Greeting to Graham, with all spaces between your name. Thanks for joining us in the live chat. Yeah, while I'm thinking about it, let me just check audio's playing back alright. Bear with me 1 second. Yeah, it sounds perfectly understandable to me. Please give me any feedback if I do anything silly, like forget to take the thumbnail off screen, or I remain muted. That's always appreciated. I will try and keep up with the live chat as much as possible. Any suggestions for any stories or events that you want us to take a look at, we will have time tonight. Yeah, we'll be finishing up 10 PM sharp, I guess you could call it. I won't really be in a position to overrun, and being a live show, you never know what could happen, but I am hoping that I won't get any interruptions, phone calls, knocks at the doors. Again, all things that are possibility when it's 9 PM at night. I'm not expecting any interruptions, but you never know. I do have some videos lined up in the event of that. Probably be seamless, because they're the best bits from my Bobby's best bits, I call it. That's what I'll pass you over to if on the off chance we get an interruption. On that note, yeah, generally it's edited segments out of my previous live streams. I did put up one just the other day, actually, up on my Chronicles of the Unconvinced channel, which you can see now on your display. We will go to that, I think. We'll look at my Chronicles channel. Ooh. Where are we? Yeah, this is the one. This was last week. We looked at the suggestion that horrible tweet was fabricated, and I also put it up on BitChute, because I've uploaded stuff to BitChute for a while. But what I noticed quite severely was that there's a lot of racist feedback. Some of the videos I put up, if we go, I'll just dart back to my other. This is, yeah, if you're not subscribed to Chronicles of the Unconvinced, there is links in the description of tonight's video. Some of the previous ones I've put up are very similar to what I've put up onto here, up on BitChute. Some of them covering, where is he? I'm sure I've got videos up on him on here somewhere. Ashley Kane, he's a celebrity whose child apparently passed over, and boy did they milk it. Perhaps I've never put a video about him up on this channel. I'm surprised, I thought I had. In fact, I've done a live stream on him. I know I have. Here we go. When Safi's mask slipped. This is about Ashley and his partner and some of their claims. Anyway, got so much racist comments on it, and it's nothing to do. The video had nothing to do with the guy's skin color. but over on BitChute, they just seem to love that sort of stuff. I'm not sure if perhaps it got infiltrated or something, but that's all you get over there. Well, not all you get. There are some genuine people that watch the stream, but that tune into BitChute, but most of the comments I got were pretty negative, so I kind of stopped uploading there. But I did think, okay, racial psyop, let's see how the BitChute audience react to it. Not well. I only got to get a thumbs down. I mean, yeah, okay, they happen. I've had videos that get lots of thumbs down, but generally most of the people that tune into my stuff thumb up my things, perhaps because they know what to expect, whereas BitChute, I'm maybe a bit less, people are less familiar with my work. And some guy, I actually thought this was quite amusing. I would like to do that. Oh, let me check. You haven't got audio playing in the background? Nope. I'll just try and mute everything. But yeah, the BitChute crowd didn't seem to like it either. Me suggesting that a black kid would come up and slap a motionless white, appears to be white, who knows, looking person. In fact, their hand looks very grey, almost plasticky. Yeah, mannequin slap, in my opinion. But if you want to see that video, then you either check out the edited segment I've put up on Chronicles of the Unconvinced, or watch last week's Bobzee Hour. Hello also to Michael Kahn, thanks for joining us. Listening in bed, or I hope I don't send you to sleep. Hopefully not. I try and keep the energy up, keep the emotions running. So, although sitting down in one spot for an hour, I do sometimes get a bit, yeah, I have to get the energy out some way, and I guess it comes out vocally. Yeah, I'm not one that would normally talk on for an hour, but I make an exception for my live streams. I normally like to have a bit of a back and forth. I have actually done open lines in the past. It is something I will do again soon. I just don't want to have to use StreamYard, although it's convenient for calls. For people joining the stream, you have to make a lot of sacrifices with quality, and it's never worked particularly well for me. So yeah, an open lines episode is on its way. Anyway, let's get back on track. Yeah, one of these people said, I would like to do that to you for not shutting the F up and letting the video play. And I politely pointed out that the original stream was, we were live streaming it, we were reviewing every minute of the footage, and I also originally attended to avoid the actual moment of impact. In the end, I thought, stuff it. If YouTube restricts the video to, signed in accounts in order to watch it, then so be it. And that is what they did with my other channel, with my other video, the edited segment. Graham says, long time listener Bobby, usually pop in the chat now and again. Yeah, I've seen you around, Graham. It's not the first time I've seen you in the chat. Thanks for tuning in. Another one. Only one person actually. The guy called himself Obsessive Compulsive, and if you're not shocked nobody did anything, let me try and zoom in a bit so perhaps you can read this a bit better. If you're not shocked nobody did anything, welcome to the real world where white people are under a worldwide eugenics genocide program. It's stunning how hard you tried to gimp for this new Jew world order. Absolutely, I am not gimping for a new world order. I am pointing out what I see. I didn't actually reply to that guy, but he left another comment, so I did reply to this one. And he said, you just witnessed what black people do to white people and decide it must be a mannequin. Did you look up the reports from the event? No, haven't seen any, as we'll come to in a minute. It's a real woman. This is absolute crap. It's a real woman suffering from a disease, and they hit her because she is not moving, and then laugh that she is still not moving. No, her not moving had absolutely nothing to do with that video. Take a closer look at the size of your brain. I bet you think open border. Well, I mean, where does this come from? I bet you think open borders is diversity too, despite being the legal definition of genocide in 141 countries. I never mentioned open borders in any one of my videos. I did point out that it's being suggested that we're being encouraged to take one side of the fence or the other. They had protests in Newquay over the weekend, breaking the day of rest, I will point that out. And they... it was protesting. It was absolutely ridiculous. We watched the footage on my last Sunday stream about... Well, we didn't watch the footage. We saw photographs of the demonstrators demonstrating against immigrants. It also gets pushed in mainstream like soap operas, which I do watch. But these people want to, it means a lot to them. They've invested lots of emotion into it, and they don't want to believe that they have taken the bait. And supposedly she had a disease and was not, and the reason they attacked her was because she wasn't moving. No, nothing to do with that. So I replied to the guy, I would be interested to see more information on the incident, or if there's any more footage that gives it context. I say what I see, and knowing how often mannequins are used in videos that get mainstream news coverage, as believe me this video did, that's my conclusion, but I am prepared to be proved wrong. Yeah, as I say, I would love to see more footage of that video or a news article linking or relating to it, but I haven't seen one so far. So yeah, it didn't go down too well on BitChute, that video either. But what can you do? On the story, a bit of a segue onto immigrants, people coming into the country, live in fear. You must, on the one side we're told, be afraid of these people. On the other side, they should be afraid of us. Who can remember back in 2017, they did a big event in the city of Manchester, England, in which a 22-year-old took a pressure cooker into the Manchester arena and plugged it in, apparently, without getting detected, and killed 22 people. Yeah, the number 22 comes up an awful lot in this story. Absolutely ridiculous. One of my, one thing I pretty much say every live stream is, they get their numbers in. Believe me, they got their numbers in this story. Because they've now done, 5 years later, they're finally doing an inquiry into it. What took them so long? Believe me, this isn't the first inquiry they've done. I think every so often they bring this stuff up just to remind us, just to keep it relevant. So, let's have a look. Salman Abedi could have been stopped at Manchester Airport on his return from the UK. Days before the bombing, the inquiry chairman has said. Now, that story differs a bit from what I believe they were saying at the time. I'm pretty sure he hadn't just returned days before. He had been in a flat in Manchester arranging all this, but I'm not sure. Perhaps they flipped the script a little bit. There was a significant missed opportunity to take action. Yeah, you better believe there was a significant missed opportunity. This guy walks into Manchester Arena, unpacks a pressure cooker, has to find a plug socket, plugs it in, turns it on long enough to detonate. I mean, what a joke. No way did that happen. Unless we're supposed to believe he ran a pressure cooker off a car battery in his backpack. Don't think so. How absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, ignore that. Don't worry about the details, because we've got plenty of people that can back up this story. Loads of witnesses. By the way, all of those witnesses ended up getting paid a ridiculously high amount of money for taking part in that. Right, I want to zoom in so this... I'm not sure how to put it into book mode. Bear with me, we're just going to do a bit of an experiment. Things could go very wrong here. Oh no, that is a bit better. I thought it might... Let me check it's not narrating it or something. Nope, shouldn't be. Right, apparently... Yeah, but they're not worried about about those details. They're more worried about the authorities that allowed him back into the country after he came from Syria. One of the two key pieces of intelligence about suicide bomber Salman Abedi, both of which weren't passed on to the police by MI5, gave rise to real possibility of obtaining information that might have led to actions which prevented the attack. Now, there's a lot of ifs, buts and maybes there. A real possibility, so still a possibility, but right, had investigations taken place, had they had access to all his text messages, all his phone calls, been able to spy on his home, then it could have been prevented from happening. If only MI5 were allowed to listen into people's Facebook or snoop in on, well, yeah, they can do that anyway. Snoop in on people's personal lives, it could have been avoided. How much freedom will we sacrifice in order to stop something like Salman Abedi happening again? What if it didn't happen in that? Nope, not allowed to say that. Stick within the parameters of everything. Mainstream would never lie. I'm sure about it. Everything they tell us is gospel. I'm surprised. No, I'm not going there. Right, so John Saunders, who probably got quids in on doing this inquiry, certainly wouldn't have done it for free. He said he found it wasn't possible to reach a finding on the balance of probabilities. Well, that's all you're going on. What are you talking about? Or to any evidential standard. So no evidence to what I'm saying, or no evidence that I can find would have prevented what happened. No, absolutely not, because it was always in their script that on the 22nd of the... Was it the 22nd of the 3rd or the 22nd of the 7th? I can't remember, but it was never going to be prevented. I want to say greetings to Phil Wright and AJ Wild in the chat. Phil says I live 10 miles from it and there was 0 damage to the arena. Yeah, it all took... There's some there's some photos we could look at. I imagine we can still get access to them. And, I mean, among other great YouTubers, there was one guy, UK critical thinker, that, you know, closely examined all the footage, all the witness statements, and, you know, just ripped it to shreds, this story. And Phil also says the foyer was closed off to the general public for them to play out the script. Wouldn't be at all surprised. All they have to do is, I mean, anytime they want, they can shut the area down, saying, oh, terror, you know, any reason they want, they can shut down exits, entrances. If they happen to do it half an hour early, who's going to remember? What will be remembered is what's reported in the press. So to suggest an event of that scale couldn't ever take place, then you just have to say, is it possible for the police or for emergency services to carry out their drills in real time? Because that's generally what takes place. Apparently they'd done a drill for just this event like a week before. Again, this was picked up in one of the videos where the Queen went round to the wards visiting the patients who had been hurt in this attack. And one of the nurses shakes the Queen's hands and said, oh, it was quite lucky because we had done a drill on this happening like the week prior. And yeah, that always happens. Do you remember the 7/7 attacks? Apparently they happened at the exact same time. The police were doing a drill on a terror attack on public transport. This information is out there for anyone to check for themselves. Not that I'm ever suggesting the mainstream lie, because that isn't mainstream. Anyway, all held extremist views. Oh, this is about the guy's family, I think. Salman. Yeah, apparently his family can be blamed. His brother, who wasn't even in the country, was charged with, I think, 22 murders or something. I mean, imagine that. Okay, 22 people got killed. The police think it might be you. What's your alibi? Well, it's in another country. Oh, okay, stacks up. Nope, that doesn't matter. If it's a terror event and they can link you in any way, then you're as guilty of murder as the guy who supposedly did it himself. Right. Actually, I might have to wind it in a little bit because YouTube have been very good lately about not striking me, and I would hopefully like to keep it that way. Although, if it does, then yeah, subscribe to my second channel, Chronicles of the Unconvinced, because that's where I'll be. Anyway, let's right, yeah, and they also mention in this article that about poster boys. The whole family were inspired by poster boys for the Islamic State. I'm not quite sure what that is referring to, but what do you think a poster boy is? That's exactly what Salman Abedi became for a lot of people, I think. If there are people in Islamic states that hold anti-American or anti-Western views, then Salman would have become their poster boy. I'm pretty sure of that. But of course, the people in Islamic states are just as human as the rest of us, and I don't think anyone would, well, maybe some people would celebrate seeing, hearing stories about innocent people getting chopped up, then crazy. But that outlook isn't scary enough for the mainstream, who desperately want you to rely on them for information, rely on all their emergency services, because without them, where would we be? Hey, okay. Anyway, but schools and colleges completely in the clear. The people that supposedly spent lots of time with this guy, not at fault at all. The security people that worked at the Manchester Arena that just stood by as he rigged up a pressure cooker and waited for it to heat up, completely in the clear. I don't think they get a mention in this anyway. Oh, they do mention a security service officer to act swiftly enough. Okay. Perhaps the security people do get a mention on this. He says it raises questions of whether more could and should have been done to share information in terms of the child's academic history, and went on to make a series of recommendations for educational reform and change. What's that got to do with education? Oh, maybe teach kids at school any information you hear that doesn't come from the news at 10, Sky News, even one of our kind of alternative news outlets like GB News. If you don't hear it from them, dismiss it. It's not worth listening to, which is absolutely crazy. Richard Scorer, principal lawyer at Slater and Gordon, who represented 11 of the families. Yeah, these families, again, they're interviewed. Many of them are interviewed. Big smiles on their face. Saying the most bizarre things about... there's a very famous set of parents. I'll just say the name Martin. If you know who he is, then yeah, this guy's parents gave the most bizarre interview, like 2 days after the guy supposedly died in a most horrific way possible. And they end up saying about how envious they were of how much love he's getting. Absolute crazy, right. In the report, John said the reasons behind the missed opportunities included a failure by the security service officer, one word, singular, to act swiftly enough. They don't mean the security officers at the arena, by the way. And said the inquiry identified problems with the sharing of information. That's all that could have changed it. He also said he found Abedi should have been referred to the government's Prevent programme. Better give them a bit more funding then, hey. Designed to prevent radicalisation at some point in 15 or 16. And yeah, here we go. Abedi, who was 22, detonated a device he carried in his backpack at the end of a concert. Well, do you want to be a bit more specific about that? How did he power that particular backpack? So John said a significant amount of material that was relevant to the question. Okay, he's just going to keep telling us how urgently information should be passed around. A senior officer known as Witness J told the inquiry at the time it was assessed to relate not to terrorism but to possible non-nefarious activity or non-terrorist. Okay. And here are once again everyone's favourite picture provider for the mainstream, PA. They seem to own the copyright to so many pictures, almost as if they produce them themselves and sell them directly to all these organisations. Let's have a look. Phil says the boom came through the speakers. Yeah, there were people some of the witnesses that said it sounded like the speakers popping. Others said it sounded like balloons bursting, or they wondered if it was a balloon bursting through the speaker. Phil Wright, Andy Holy, real life Superman, blown 30 feet, the 30 hoax code, through a set of doors. Yeah, and so many of the witness stories. It was Andy Holy, the guy who got 22 pieces of shrapnel in his back. They keep squeezing the number 22 in as often as they can on that particular night. And it happened on the 22nd, of course. 22-year-old killed 22 people. And yeah, that's just one of the many things that, people taking this story for as anything other than a mainstream drama, unfortunately, will breed hatred, fear, contempt, and will breed horrible emotions, and it will cause people to not only live in fear but also to hate. Another very suspect thing about this story was just how quickly all the names and details of the people that died was released. I think they named the first person in a matter of hours, and it was just, and I mean, that's insane. I think that all these people were given to us in such a short space of time. AJ says Muslims do not commit suicide. It's condemned in the Quran. It's also very shameful in the Arab culture. I never believed the story. No, I think you're on the right lines. And Phil says Andy was a Scouser. Yeah, there was a lot of interviews with some very strange looking kids actually who had, and they just let that horrible racket go off. 10 points to the first person. I don't know if you can, I'm sure you can hear that in the background, that can identify that sound. You'll get a round of applause. AJ also says Islamic suicide bombers are a Mossad creation. Yes, you're 100% right. They're the bad guys. I know what you're saying. Right. Yeah, this article goes on for a ridiculously long amount of time. If I was to read it all, then I think we'd be here all night. But I am going to leave a link in the live chat if anyone wants to read it for themselves. I will also put it in the in the description of this video. You can also find this story. See, we could watch all these crappy pictures of Salman. One thing to note, in none of these pictures do you ever see anyone else. I mean, this is 9:15. Looks like it's on Manchester train station. I'm guessing it's a train station in Manchester, because it was 9:15 this image was taken, and the whole, they blurred out a couple of people. but that is one pretty empty train station for a night when a big concert's supposedly going on. Again, we've got an image of him coming out of a lift as well earlier. Oh, hang on. Maybe we can open them all. No, we can't. We'll go back to... Yeah, they never show us any pictures of... Hang on, let's see. Read more of today's top stories. Not if this one is anything to go by. Yeah, here he is again, getting out of a lift, completely deserted. Do we see him walking in a car park as well? I'm not sure. Yeah, again. Yeah, as I said, a channel I would seriously recommend if you want to, if you're not familiar with the Manchester Arena incident, would be the YouTuber UK Critical Thinker. He did a wonderful job on that. I'm just going to actually... He doesn't make videos anymore, but his channel should still be out there. Let's see. I hope it is anyway. Well, I'm subscribed to him, so let's see. Unless it got taken down. He is on 153 News as well. Nope, looks like his channel's gone. Let's see. I'm sure we can find him on 153 News. .net. Yeah, on the subject of 153 News, the guy who runs it, Jason, has been... he's been uploading... He has been... Yeah, trying to share the Holy Scriptures, which are getting hit with copyright strikes, and I showed you in in one of my recent streams where you can download these scriptures from, but apparently they've had that site shut down now. Right, where are we? Here we go. Yeah, I'll leave a link to this guy's channel once again in the live chat. There's loads of great videos up on this on 153 News. Stuff that would never stay around long on YouTube anymore. Oh my goodness, have I had my thumbnail on all this time? That can't be right. Apologies if I had, actually, but wow, how far back does that go? No, looks like the last 5 minutes we've had the thumbnail on the screen, so I do apologise for that. Probably since I must be hitting a hotkey or something, so apologies for that. I hope that didn't... Let us go back to Mr. Critical Thinker's video, yeah. UKTC. Greetings to Nathan Oakley and Maria Ellender, both in the live chat. Oh, and Jason Boss, thanks for tuning in. Tractor Digging. Mudlark Digging at the Thames also. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Yeah, of course, I've just mentioned Jay Bossman, whose platform, I was just getting onto the subject of the... it was Yahweh and the Torah, but the website has now been taken down, so it's been moved. Yeah, I was going to find the correct place for that. Phil Wright, nobody died. Absolutely correct. Let's see. I'm sure if I go to... Yeah, I have, on that subject, actually, I have been given the opportunity to help render or edit some of these scriptures and help Jason get them up online. So I'll show you where you can find them. Unless Jason's got a link, I'm gonna add you as a moderator so you can share links if possible. Let me see, add as moderator. Yeah, you should be able to, if you can share a link, Jason, to where we can find your stuff, that would be good. I've just seen this thing about Woody Harrelson. Apparently he came out and started made an anti-VAX speech on the Saturday night show or some program in America. That, do we really think Woody Harrelson is all of a sudden wanting to come out and tell us what's what? Let's see. I would like to find the link myself, actually. Maybe I'll bear with us. We will get there. Right, I'll catch up in the chat while I'm having a look. Greetings to Nathan. Thanks for joining us. We can't really see your overlays covering it. Thanks, Nathan. Yeah, I reckon I must have clicked one of the thumbnails. So, yeah, my apologies. Thanks for pointing that out. We've got a link now from Jason. That's great. The only issue is if I try and click that now from this screen, if I say open a new tab, YouTube will say oh no, it worked, my mistake. Okay, yeah, here they are, beautifully laid out, beautifully downloads. You can download all these wonderful scriptures. And yeah, I did share my contribution last week, which was I'm just trying to think now. Mine's gone blank. But yeah, this is. Jason's left a link. I'll also leave that in the description of tonight's video. And yeah, so wonderfully laid out. Oh, looks like some of the links might be a bit need updating because this is still on Yehoah and the Torah. Let's have a look for some of the others. Might need to do something in order to see that. Let's see, what else have we got? Online scriptures. I believe this. Yeah, here's Revelation, for example. So yeah, some of them are still working, but it looks like some of the downloads are going to your previous site, Jason, just to let you know if you're still tuned in. Yeah, J Boss says Woody is man-made for sure. Absolutely. He couldn't sum it up any better, actually. Woody made of wood like the puppet these people are. So yeah, and also if yeah, Jason also invites you guys to contact him in order to help. Yeah, if you're in a position to help their family to upload all the complete books in a downloadable format, then yeah, that would be the way to go. Yeah, thanks for sharing the link, by the way. Okay, and you're saying YehoahAndTheTorah.net should be back in a few days. Brilliant, I'm glad to hear it. I know you've had 153 news taken down before and managed to get that back up again. I have referred people to have a look at your what you're sharing about the original, what do they call themselves, Hallelujah scriptures, and just some of the behaviour of their people. Well, again, I'll put a link to Jason's channel in here because I know you're not able to visit people's channel through the live chat, so let's just give us a second. Yeah, we're fast approaching 10 PM. Yeah, I've got to say, yeah, Jason offers us a wonderful opportunity to to upload content without fear of censorship. So good luck, thanks for what you're doing. Right, tonight's title was supposed to be related to Harry and Meghan. Well, Harry, Meghan and Prince Charles all made the thumbnail tonight, and we haven't mentioned them once. I came across this story that apparently Harry and Meghan are stunned at being evicted from Frogmore Cottage. Now, for most people, being evicted, what would that mean to you or I? I mean, I do genuinely thank God that I've never been in a situation where I've been evicted. But for most people, it would have to probably be one of the most stressful, worrying times of their life to suddenly be... I mean, in watching programs like, what was that one they did about the bailiffs, where they would come round and, to be honest, some of it was blatantly staged for the cameras. There were, I can't remember what they called it now, Here Comes the Bailiffs or some such program like that, and they would give people letters and say, oh, if you take this down to the council, they might be able to provide you with emergency accommodation. You might get lucky and get put up in a guest house, or, get a bed and breakfast for a couple of weeks. Not for Harry, though. Actually, we've already got this one open. Right, I'm going to try and join immersive reader mode if we can. No, we cannot. Right. Also, going back to the chat, AJ says they killed the guy who they said did it. Are we referring to a Woolwich attack, 22nd of May? Also, Maria, I haven't come across that one. Victoria, one happening in Victoria as well. Okay, I see Maria's pointed out the previous events that also happened to take place on the 22nd. Norway on the 22nd of July, JFK on the 22nd of November. Didn't the London Bridge attack happen on the 22nd of the 3rd, 22nd of March? I'm sure it did. Let's just have a look, just for London Bridge attack. I remember this happened a couple of months before. Oh no, it's the 3rd of... Yeah, 22nd of the 3rd, I'm sure it was. 3rd of June, that's not the one I'm thinking of. Okay, maybe I got that wrong then. It was the 3rd of June. I'm sure something happened on the 22nd of March. Again, yeah, there were 2 attacks. But yeah, 2017 was a big year for it. Right, I've gone off subject. I was talking about Harry and his eviction. Just want to compare supposedly this guy's life to everyone else's, okay? As I say, thank God I've never been in a position where I've not had a bed to sleep in, except for one night when I was a stupid kid and I was probably in my 20s and I went off for some ridiculous reason and to Oxford, or I think it was Oxford or something like that, and I missed the last train back and I had to sleep at the train station. I camped out as well, but other than on those occasions, I've always had a warm, comfortable bed with a roof over me, and I know a lot of people aren't that lucky, but to be, if I was ever in a position where I was given a letter and told to take it down to the council and hope they can give me a bed to sleep in, when Prince Harry gets evicted, though, they use it as an opportunity to advertise his new memoir. King Charles III began evicting Harry and Meghan from Frogmore just 24 hours after the release of Spare. Of course, you cannot mention Prince Harry at the minute without mentioning Spare in the press. And the couple believe it was cruel. Listen to this. So yeah, you may get a letter from the bailiff or from bailiffs telling you within a week we're going to come round and remove you from your property, or they stick it up on your door to make sure you see it. And you've got 24 hours to gather your stuff, or a week. His Majesty initially gave his son-in-law and daughter-in-law weeks to pack. Okay, so weeks. Bear in mind, the release of Spare was was that January, maybe February? So what's weeks from then? Well, surely the end of February, to pack up their stuff. But in a very cruel move, now they have at least until after the coronation in May, so they've extended the deadline then. Because if he was given weeks on the release of Spare, then, well, he's now got months, surely. And does Prince Harry even live in Frogmore Cottage? don't think so. I think he's got a few other places that he can, if the guy is anything other than a bunch of actors that endlessly play the role, maybe at least the people they put in front of the cameras anyway. Yeah, they've now got at least until the end of May, so don't worry about Harry. Don't think that he's going to end up homeless and you might have to put the guy up, or he might be, ringing around his mates, seeing if anyone's got a spare sofa they can lend him, because they've started planning how to move their belongings to California. Whoa, that must be a stressful life, including an ornate ottoman bench and a chaise lounge from the home they lived until Megxit, and so they don't even live there, and stayed at following the Queen's death last September. So he's basically got one less place he can go to. There is a property just outside of Bath. I want to find it actually. I'm going to hide my screen just for 1 second and bring up maps, and I want to show you this beautiful property that, let me see, that is apparently made use of. It used to be Charles's when he was prince, but now he's king. I think they've given it to one of the other members of the family. Right, where are we? Let me find where I'm looking for, and then we'll open the screen up again. Okay, here we are back on maps. Right, Bath. Where were we? It is in a place called right, is it Newton St. Low? I know you have to leave. Let me find it. I've got a feeling it is, yeah, Newton St. Low, and they've got a cafe just around the corner. Let's see if we can find their... Again, this is just somewhere they can stay anytime they want. Where are we? If that's the... if this is the right farm shop, it's... Let's see if we can identify the actual house. I wonder if it's... No, that's too shabby for them, I'm sure. But there is a property in this very picturesque, beautiful area. It's because all the land's apparently owned by the duchy. I wonder if it's not Newton St. Low and it's somewhere else. But, yeah, it's one of these houses round here. Maybe it's one of these fenced-in ones. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, this is our quick tour of Newton St. Low outside Bath. Very nice place, but you do have to share it with a royal, unfortunately. Angela Tate, good to see her in the chat. Thanks for joining us. Anyone believe the Harry bullspit that they got going on? No, it all just seems to be one big publicity campaign to sell his book. Maria says, I thought that removal vans were seen at Frogmore on the 24th of November. It's all bread and circuses. Yeah. But what they mean is they're having a reshuffle of all the accommodation that the royals supposedly live in. And... oh, I'd love to... maybe Newton St. Low ain't the right place. Let me just... yeah, I grew up in this sort of area, just around where my mouse is swirling. I lived in one of those houses till I was about 18, moved along this way, ended up along here. Right. Yeah, it's definitely Newton St. Low. That is the area. Anyway, yeah, that's where... I mean, I never really hung out in this place very much, so I don't know how likely you are to run into any of them. But it's there if they need it. Perhaps it's this one, actually. Right, also, every so often, I wonder if it's that place. I think it might be the Mount. Maria says they left it empty for Eugene and her fella to live in. Well, there you go, yeah. Wouldn't be at all surprised. Of course, any farmland or land owned by the duchy means that people get, they get rent for it. I assume that is the Harry story you were referring to, Angela. I don't know if he's been involved in any other stories. Prince Harry and Meghan are angry and shocked after being told to clear your stuff and get out. I bet they were never once told anything of the sort. But the King Charles's coronation offers Harry a fresh start in a new mansion that you'll have. I'm sure they won't ever go without a bedroom, don't worry. If you're worried about Harry coming to England and maybe having to pay for a hotel room, then don't sweat it, because I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon. Right, we are fast approaching 10 p.m, so we are going to have to start winding things up. Was there any other... Yeah, apparently there's been mainstream has been flooded with things about a baby going missing. I'm not sure if illegal workers arrested. Constant Martin. I haven't looked at this story, but how can you not when it gets so much media coverage? And it's an absolutely disgusting, vile story about a baby. And yeah, it's horrific. So do you know what? On this one, I'm going to take the high ground, and I'm going to say, do you know what? I'm not buying into your crap. I'm not even looking at it. Who wants to read about such vile, disgusting stories? Although I am curious to see whether any of the numbers come up. We'll just quickly scan it for any of the obvious ones. 2nd of March, 23. 2-3. And they happen to release this at 3:11. Yeah. But I've not looked closely at this, so I couldn't possibly give a verdict on it. But knowing how much the things that get absolute overwhelming coverage, I would say you can never believe a word these people say. Taking the knee, just like they did for... Okay, so yeah, anyone with any views on that horrific story, then yeah. Apparently these people were aristocrats, so it's a big deal when their baby goes missing. Again, it got absolute round-the-clock coverage that a baby was missing. Again, hopefully it doesn't happen often, but do missing people get as much coverage as this baby did? I don't know. Right, I am going to start wrapping things up for the evening, but I would like to thank Angela Tate, Maria, Jason Boss, Phil, AJ Wild, Nathan Oakley, and I hope I mentioned Maria Ellender. We had Graham in the chat earlier. Hope you're still with us and enjoyed the stream. I will be back Sunday. Do you know what? There is a minor chance I could even do it Saturday, but I've got a free evening this Saturday. But whether I'll fill it with a live stream, I don't know. Chances are it will be a Sunday as per usual. I would invite anyone who's tuned in tonight before they leave, if they want to show their appreciation for tonight's live stream. If you want to hit the thumbs up, then I would always thank you ever so much for doing that. I would also like to say a thank you to those supporting this channel. That's Linda Mack and Skeptic936. And let you know if anyone wants to check out my content over on Patreon. There's a link in the description. So that looks like where we will be leaving it for tonight. Michael Khan as well. He was in the chat earlier. Apologies for missing you. If there's anyone else I haven't thanked for tuning in, I thank everyone for taking the time to tune in, and anyone for commenting in the live chat is massively appreciated. I'm just gonna
read the last couple of messages. Maria says the constant Martin story is the same agenda as Nicola Bully, microchip to help trace missing people. Well, do you know, I would not be at all surprised if that is where they were going with it, or at least someone comes out and thinks, you know, wouldn't you love not to have to worry about your child, your wife, your husband, brother, sister, friend going missing? Why don't you just install this tiny little chip in your head, which means we can keep an eye on you anytime we want to? It's it gives you something to think about if we ever see that. I mean, chips are available, of course. I'm sure they do put chips in to people, but I do not believe it's massively available. Am I right? Who knows? Okay. Right, thanks again to everyone. Oh, and AJ says they don't believe they were ever living at Frogmore's. Fake as her bump. Absolutely. This whole family are as fake as one of their moon bump stuffed women, as it were. Alright, do you know what? By the way, as I thanked Linda and Skeptic for their support, I also want to thank Nathan Oakley, because obviously he very kindly gave us some equipment that made the stream, makes these streams a lot easier to do. So I wouldn't want him to think that his support of the channel is overlooked. So as always, I should really include your name on the scroll list, Nathan. Perhaps I'll put you in for a month or something. Okay, right, so have a wonderful few days, and I can't say it enough. Observe the day of rest, the Sabbath day, would be my recommendation. I've never regretted it. I've always been, I've always found life much easier, much better routine, observing the Sabbath day, sundown Friday to sundown Saturday, and I recommend you do too. Again, going back to one of you guys in the chat, Jason Boss, he does a Sabbath day reading on the Saturday. Always interesting to watch. Okay, we are going to say over and out in a second. I think we're... Okay. If, any links that I've shared in the chat tonight will be available in the description of this video. If you're watching after I've streamed and you're not able to click the links in the live chat, then it will all be in the description. Okay, I will be back soon. I'll be back, if not before, I'll be back Sunday, okay? Have a great few days, and thanks ever so much for joining in. Good night.